The ASUS ROG Xbox Ally. You've probably seen the reviews that the battery is a joke, the name is terrible, Windows on a handheld is just a mess. Just get a Steam Deck, they say, or a Legion Go 2 or whatever. And honestly, a lot of that is true. But what if I told you that most people are looking at this thing all wrong? They're judging it against the wrong competitors and completely missing the point. They get so hung up on its weaknesses that they never stop to celebrate its strengths. Today, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you why the ROG Xbox Ally is a monster performer on modern games, as long as you embrace what it really is. This isn't a Steam Deck killer, it was never trying to be. This is something else, and it just might be the most underrated handheld on the market. I bought this about a month ago, and the first thing I noticed was how this thing feels. You'll be holding this for hours, and for my money, this is where the Xbox Ally wins its first and biggest victory. It is hands down one of the most comfortable handhelds I have ever used. The second you pick it up, it just clicks. The Xbox style grips fit perfectly in your palms, and the textured back means it always feels secure. ASUS just nailed the ergonomics. If you've put in long hours on other handhelds, you know that hand cramps are a real problem, especially the older you get. With the Xbox Ally, those long sessions are just comfortable. The full-size sticks and triggers and face buttons, they all feel responsive and well made. The haptic feedback adds a nice layer of immersion you don't always get on other devices. This isn't just a screen with controls slapped on, it's a thoughtfully designed controller that happens to have a PC crammed inside. While other companies like Nintendo are chasing thin and light, ASUS focused on comfort, and for a gaming device, that is almost always the right call. It's a machine that begs to be played. Hey, future editing Bo here. There are a few things I forgot to say. These things are hard to review because they do so much, and even when you write out your review like I did for this one, you get into a flow, you think things are sounding really good, and then you get to post and you're editing and you're like, no, I forgot this and this and this. So you're gonna see me interject a couple of times in here. One of the things I cannot believe I forgot to mention was sound quality. I always talk about sound quality and speaker placement when I do these handheld reviews. The speakers, as you can see, are right there on the front, facing directly towards you, and the grills are rather large actually, and I just can't believe I forgot to bring it up because they sound so good. I just exposed that my Christmas tree is still up and it's February 1st, so but you can see here that the speakers are like far enough apart that it is wider than my face, and so the right speaker really hits your right ear, the left speaker really hits your left ear. The stereo spread is phenomenal. It's almost like having surround sound. I mean, no joke. You can really tell which direction you need to turn your character in order to see certain things that you're hearing. And not only that, but they get incredibly loud. These are the loudest handheld speakers I've ever tested. I think I've only adjusted the volume to above 20 out of 100, maybe once, and that was just because I wanted to hear what it sounded like louder. Most of the time, it sits between 6 and 14, depending on my environment, depending on the game, and that is plenty loud enough. Huge thumbs up for the sound quality on the ASUS ROG Xbox Ally. Now let's talk about that screen because it's the next thing you'll notice. It's a 7-inch 1080p 120Hz touchscreen, and it is absolutely gorgeous. It's sharp, it's bright enough for everything but direct sunlight, and thanks to that high refresh rate, motion is incredibly smooth. It even has variable refresh rate, VRR, a feature you usually only find on high-end gaming monitors. What that really means in a practical sense is that it helps smooth things out when the frame rate dips, so you see less of that frustrating stutter. It's a genuinely premium screen that makes gaming look amazing. But this is exactly where the confusion starts. People see 1080p screen and they think they should be running every game at 1080p. They fire up the latest AAA title, crank the settings, watch the performance tank, and then call the device underpowered. But just because the screen can do 1080p doesn't mean it should for every single game. And that brings me to the whole point of this video. Forget 1080p. The real secret to the ROG Xbox Ally is to embrace it as a 720p gaming beast. On a 7-inch screen, 720p looks fantastic, and the performance leap you get over 1080 is staggering. While some reviews show you a stuttering mess at 1080, you're missing the magic that happens just one resolution setting down. Take some of the most demanding games right now. With a few tweaks at 720p on medium to high and sometimes even ultra settings, you can often get titles like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle and Clair Obscur Expedition 33 pushing a smooth 40 to 50 frames per second on this VRR display. For older titles like Halo the Master Chief Collection or Doom 2016, you can max everything out and hit a flawless 60 FPS or even higher. I'll be showing gameplay footage throughout this video, but notice games like Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is incredibly smooth at ultra settings while running at 720p. It looks spectacular. The key is using tech like AMD's FSR or Fidelity FX Super Resolution. Setting it to balanced is the secret sauce in my opinion. It renders the game at a lower resolution and cleverly upscales it, giving you a huge performance boost without turning your game into a blurry mess. Suddenly, almost no game feels out of reach. You can enjoy brand new releases without feeling like you're making a huge sacrifice. The difference between native 720 and upscaled 720 on a small screen is tiny, but the difference between a stuttering 30 FPS and a smooth 60 is night and day. The AMD Ryzen Z2A APU in this machine is built for exactly this kind of smart performance. It's not about brute force, it's about playing smart. And when you do that, the Ally delivers a portable experience that feels fluid, responsive, and most importantly, fun. Now, one weird quirk I will mention with the display is that it gets decently bright with the battery, but when you plug it in, suddenly it gets about 20% brighter. You can have the slider set all the way to max on battery, plug it up, and it gets brighter. Unplug it, and it gets dimmer. And that really does bother me a little bit. I wish they hadn't done that. I know they're trying to conserve the battery. Just let me control how bright the screen is. I want that max brightness, even if it means I'm gonna get 30 minutes less battery life. In my opinion, if you want the screen to look its best, absolute best, it does have to be plugged in to your wall charger. Now, I'm not finished, but if you're digging this different take on the ROG Xbox Ally, do me a solid and hit that subscribe button. I'm always messing with this kind of stuff to find the best way to play. And let me know in the comments, am I off my rocker, or is the 720p experience on the Xbox Ally secretly incredible? Okay, let's address the elephant in the room. The battery. Look, it's not great. Playing a demanding AAA title, you might get an hour and a half, maybe 2.5 unplugged max. Its 60 watt-hour battery is comparable in size to the original Steam Decks, but the Ally is a much hungrier machine, which leads to shorter sessions. For a lot of people, that's a deal breaker. They see handheld and think it needs to last a cross-country flight. And if you want to put it in the 6-watt silent mode for some less demanding games, it very well might last that long. But again, I think that's missing the point. This device is large and bulky, and I'm not sure it's the one that you take on a long trip as your only entertainment. This is the ultimate at-home handheld. This is what you use on the couch while your spouse watches TV. It's what you take to bed for one last mission. It's for moving from room to room, free from a desk, but still near an outlet. And when you play it plugged in, you can run turbo mode indefinitely, which pushes the performance to its peak. You get the full power of the chip without ever glancing at the battery percentage. It becomes a portable powerhouse that gives you the flexibility to play anywhere in your home with a level of comfort a gaming laptop just can't offer. It's about freedom within your space, not necessarily freedom from your space. That said, I did travel with this over Christmas break, and it definitely fits in my backpack with my laptop and a few other items. So it's more than possible to travel with it, but I enjoy using it around my home just as much. And since we're talking about battery life here, I'll add that at home I can use Xbox Remote Play, which is already built in to stream games from my Series X with virtually zero lag. And speaking of streaming from my Series X, one of the critiques of this is that it doesn't actually play Xbox games, but it has Xbox in the name, and that's correct. Most games, unless they're Xbox Play Anywhere games, you cannot play your Xbox games on this unless you're streaming from a device. Now, the one thing that I found really cool is that I logged in to this because it's a PC. I logged in with my Microsoft account, and it went ahead and set up my remote play streaming from my Xbox for me automatically because I signed in with my account. So when I say it's built in, I literally mean that it is built in. It's right down here in the bottom left corner. There's a little console icon second from the bottom. You just tap on that and you can go straight into your Xbox. I didn't have to go to my Xbox and set some kind of connection up or anything. It was already done for me, and I really appreciate that. So even though it's not ideal, you can in fact play your Xbox games from your Xbox on this as long as you're able to stream. But as I was editing, I just felt like I needed to clarify those things. It looks fantastic and just sips on that battery for hours. You can do the same thing with your Steam library on your PC, and I've even read that you can use PlayStation Remote Play with your PS5 too, although I haven't had time to test those myself yet. The other major complaint is always the software. It runs Windows, and Windows is clunky on a handheld. And you know what? You're right, the initial setup can be a pain. You've got updates for Windows 11, for ASUS's Armory Crate, for the GPU drivers, the BIOS, the list goes on, and it feels like a lot. And they're all located in different places. It's definitely not the simple, streamlined experience of a Switch or a Steam Deck. In fact, the day I got this, I spent 3 or more hours just installing updates, restarting, installing more updates, restarting again, and so on. And then you have to install games as well. It takes a while, but once you're over that hurdle, that so-called Windows problem becomes the Ally's greatest strength. Because it runs full Windows, it can run everything natively. You have the ability to install Xbox Game Pass games without the lag of cloud streaming. You can install games from Steam, the Epic Game Store, GOG, Battle.net. If it runs on a PC, it runs on the Ally. You aren't locked into one ecosystem. This is a true open PC in the palm of your hand. While the new Xbox full screen experience tries to give it a more console-like feel, the real power is knowing you can drop back to any ecosystem anytime to tweak a setting, install a mod, or run an app. For anyone with a game library scattered across a half-dozen launchers, this is a game changer. The Xbox full screen experience does have a dedicated space where it lists all of your games from any store, essentially creating something like desktop shortcuts all in one place, so you can get to your favorite games quickly. But overall, there is some clunkiness, at least for now, and that's the price you pay for ultimate freedom. And for a PC gamer, that's a trade worth making. Now, not everybody likes Windows, and some people just want a Steam Deck-like experience that's much more user-friendly. And good news is, because this is an open system here, you can install Bazite SteamOS on there and turn this into a more ergonomic Steam Deck, essentially. I don't have any plans to do that, but I think it's really cool that you have that option, and I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that in this review. So who should actually buy the ASUS ROG Xbox Ally? It's definitely not for everyone, which is probably why it's so misunderstood. This isn't for the person who wants a simple plug-and-play console experience. The Steam Deck is still a fantastic choice for that. And this isn't for the person who needs 6 hours of battery for the newest AAA title for a long commute. The ROG Xbox Ally is for the PC gamer. It's for the tinkerer, the person who enjoys tweaking settings to get that perfect balance of performance and visuals. It's for the person with games spread across Steam, Epic, Game Pass, and others who wants one device to play them all. It's for the player who understands that on a 7-inch VRR screen, a smooth 40 FPS at 720p is way better than a choppy 20 FPS at 1080p. The Z2A model, often found at around $599, competes with the Steam Deck OLED, but justifies its price with a level of software versatility that the deck can't match out of the box. Now, even though the price is normally $599, it's often been on sale for $500 flat. And at that price point, I think this is extremely compelling. And I will admit that that even gives me some sticker shock when it comes to handhelds. But when you look at the current market, it's really, honestly, a pretty great deal. These things are going up and up and up in price, and not just handhelds, but any kind of computer product. Because of the state of AI and shortages in supplies, prices are not going to be coming down very often. So the fact that we're even seeing this go on sale is honestly kind of shocking. From the day it launched, the ASUS ROG Xbox Ally has been misunderstood. It was thrown into the ring and judged by the wrong rules, criticized for its battery life and for not being a 1080p machine, when it was never designed to be either. But when you stop trying to force it into a box it doesn't fit, and you embrace what it is, an incredibly comfortable, powerful, and versatile 720p gaming machine, it becomes one of the best handhelds you can buy. It respects your wallet, your game library, and gives you the freedom to play your way. It's an ergonomic dream that feels perfect in your hands, and it is without a doubt highly underrated. And for all the people who were disappointed in this device, whether you were a reviewer or someone who, just picked it up and was disappointed and returned it, I really think some of it is that our expectations were just too high. It's like when you go to see a movie that you're just really hyped up about and amped up about, and then you leave kind of disappointed because it didn't live up to your expectations. But then maybe 6 months down the road, a year later, you go back and decide to give it another chance and you rewatch it and you think, I don't know, it's not going to be very good. And then suddenly it's like, oh wait, no, this is a great movie. That's kind of how I feel about this, is that some people just need to temper their expectations, give it another shot, and I think what they'll find is a really excellent handheld. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of the Xbox Ally down below. Stay kind and encouraging out there, and I'll catch you on the flippity flip.